What's going on, Ascend to Wealth family? This is your boy Daryl Davenue, Mr. Ascend to Wealth himself, sitting down with the founder of The Fearless Entrepreneur, Mr. Will Featherstone III. Will, what's going on with you today, man?
Not much, man. Appreciate you having me.
Nah, not a problem at all, man. So Will and I, man, we go way, way back. We actually used to go to high school together and literally lost communication with one another probably for about a 10-year span. And then all of a sudden, we both kind of popped back up on the scene out of nowhere. He was living in the same city I was, and I just randomly ran into him, I think twice in like a 2-week span after not seeing him for 10 years. So we figured, hey man, we need to sit down, we need to connect, find out what's been going on, what you've been doing. And he was letting me know pretty much how he had started a journey called The Fearless Entrepreneur. And it's absolutely amazing when it comes to the journey of entrepreneurship and some of the things that you have to deal with while you're on that journey. So I wanted to bring him in because not even just in entrepreneurship, but in life period, people deal with a lot of fear. So I want him to talk about The Fearless Entrepreneur a little bit before we hop into the topics we're going to talk about.
Yeah, man. So The Fearless Entrepreneur was kind of birthed from just my journey in general. I was working a 9-to-5. Wasn't comfortable. You know, it really wasn't. I guess I was trying to find my purpose in life, try to find my purpose in what it is that I really wanted to do. Working a 9-to-5 was awesome. I really liked my job, but it was empty. And for me, being able to create and freely create and help others and do what I innately know how to do, which is, help people with businesses, create brands, be artistic and creative, plan, all that stuff, and help them grow. That was something that was more passionate for me. But to step out from your 9-to-5 to do that was extremely scary.
Absolutely.
To disconnect from everything that you had learned, disconnect from everything that you've kind of have been taught, and take that risk on yourself is a fear in itself. And I started talking with other entrepreneurs. I started interviewing other entrepreneurs. And in that journey, I started to learn that all of us have fears. All of us have those fears that stop us when it comes down to the entrepreneurship and jumping out full force by yourself.
Right.
But it's those fears and overcoming those things that help you get to the end goal of where you want to be. So it's not a bad thing to have the fear, but when you let the fear stagnate you, that's when you kind of can run into some roadblocks in your life and in entrepreneurship.
Good.
So Fearless Entrepreneur was built to kind of help people, educate people, give people knowledge about how to jump into this entrepreneurship world. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, we interview other people to try to get an understanding of how they got over their fears, how they got over their challenges, and then to get into thriving in their business today.
Phenomenal. So you heard him talk about working with a ton of different business owners. This is one of the things that Will specializes in. He's one of the top consultants in the country, if you ask me. I've seen him, I say this because I've seen him work with every type of business you can imagine, from nonprofits to for-profits to nightclub, event planners, to the Ascend to Wealth Academy, you name it. He's worked with someone who has a business model that's similar or a line of business that's similar. And just to be able to produce success over and over and over again, no matter what type of business or what type of idea somebody comes to him with, that is not normal. That is very extraordinary. He's definitely an extraordinary individual. So I'm definitely honored that he would take the time to just kind of drop some nuggets on us in the Ascend to Wealth family to help us continue our journey and progress forward the way we want to. So this month's series is going to be featured on the mental side of things, and we're going to be talking about, of course, fear. All right. Now, there are a ton of different fears. You name it. People have all kind of phobias and things of that nature. But each week we're going to focus on a powerful fear type that really hinders a ton of people from progressing in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be business oriented, but it's just a mental blockage that we can put up that can really, really stop us from being who we want to be and growing the way we want to grow. So with that being said, we're going to talk about this week the fear of failure. All right. And when I talk about the fear of failure, I mean, there's a lot of people who won't do certain things, who won't move forward in whatever area of their life because they just continue to envision failing. And they can't get themselves to put themselves on a limb to go out the way to do it because that fear of failure keeps holding them. So we're going to start with the general question. What advice would you give anyone that's struggling with the fear of failure?
Know what's real. You know, if you're struggling with the fear of failure, you have to know what's real. And failure is all fathom. It's not real. Failure is only what you create it to be. You know, a lot of times we're scared to fail just because we don't know what the end result is. It's because all of the ambiguity behind it. You know, you don't know what'll happen in this space. But when you do it, you then know. And if you take that knowledge and build upon it as the knowledge that it's supposed to be, as a learning lesson, then it's not a failure. So know what's real. Failure isn't real. It's all a perspective on how you're looking at it. The only people that fail are the people that, you know, quit on it. So that would be my main piece of advice.
That's a really good point that you made. You know, people tell me, you know, failure sometimes is necessary. It's not something that should be feared. It's something that should be accepted because failure isn't final. As you said, quitting is. In your entrepreneurial journey or just in your life journey in general, how do you deal with the failures that you personally encountered, and I guess how have you used those failures to make you a better person and push you forward in life?
Man, I failed a lot, you know, and I'm not afraid of those scabs and those bruises and bumps that come with failure. I've learned to embrace them, and that's the biggest thing that I've come away with in the strategy that I use, embracing it instead of trying to be an avoidance. When you try to avoid it, you put yourself on a whole other trajectory from what it is that your goal is, right? And when you move from something and try to avoid it, you know, you can move from a wreck. You know, somebody stops in front of you and you go to the left and you hit somebody else. Like, you have to stay steadfast in what your vision is and what you're trying to achieve, and just prepare yourself for the failures. And then when they do come, be able to reassess those things. You know, take that time out to say, okay, and now what happened? What could have I've done better to help prepare myself to be in a better position to take advantage of this opportunity, and then work to better yourself. There are no outside elements that you can fix.
Right.
The only element that you can truly fix is what can I do? And I spent a lot of time figuring out, well, what could I have done better in that situation, rather than all the elements and environments around me trying to change those. They're forever going to be out there.
Right.
But what is it that I can do for myself to change myself, to better myself, to be in a better position to win the next time the scenario happens.
Makes sense. So with that being said, we're going to stop right there for this week's segment, dealing with the fear of failure. He's going to be with us all month long as we continue to unveil different fears that people experience. So make sure that you continue to tune in to see what other nuggets he's going to drop to help you get past that fear that you experience on a daily basis in your different areas of life. Once again, he's featured in our expert section, so make sure that you go check out Will Featherstone, see what he has going on, see if any of the services that he offers is something that is useful for you, your family, your business, friends, or whatever. All right. So with that being said, Gerald Davenue, Will Featherstone, over now.